Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and here's one of the posts that is getting a ton of attention in the world of crypto today. It's from Anthony Scaramucci. Now, Anthony is the founder and, here, I'll just pull up, the founder and managing partner of Skybridge, which is a firm that has billions of dollars in assets under management. He's definitely in the know. He's kind of on the inside of all this, it's certainly fair to say. And so he simply posted out about 5 hours ago, it's done. Cryptic. Yes. So, wait, did he have some lasagna baking in the oven? Or is it perhaps the case that he's talking about approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF? I'm going to guess it's the latter, even though he's being a little cryptic there. And so you can see this was viewed in the last 5 hours, mind you, 1.1 million times. So people in crypto are incredibly curious to see what's going on here. And so the word on the street from multiple reputable sources is that we're actually going to have approval of the spot Bitcoin ETF and that it's going to happen tomorrow. Now, I'll just say this at the outset. I'm not saying I'm convinced that it's going to have official approval tomorrow. I'm not convinced that's going to happen. It could. But as far as things leaking from reputable sources, yeah, that stuff's already happening. So it could be the case. All I'm saying is, like, take it with a grain of salt, but I want to share with you what everybody's saying, because again, this, while true rumors, it's true that they're rumors. They're rumors coming from people in reputable places who do have actual sources, like including reporters. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. So the reason I want to make a video about this, it's probably self-evident, but just in case. When we have news of this thing getting approved, which I think is a virtual certainty, the spot Bitcoin ETF, we are going to see some serious fireworks. The market is going to go, I think, on an absolute rampage, even though I personally believe it'll be a sell the news event after some amount of time moving up. Happy to be wrong. In fact, I genuinely mean this. I hope that I am incorrect. I genuinely do, because that would be, if I'm wrong, that's fantastic for my net worth. I hope that I am wrong. I hope that there's no pullback after it starts rocketing. And I certainly hope that it at least rockets to some degree, which I think is the most probable thing. The market's going to get irrational and exuberant. It's going to run up to some degree and then at some point come back down. There are lots of people who don't think that it's going to be a sell the news event. They think it's a buy the news event. And it's not crazy to think that. I'm not convinced, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later, because I actually have a survey to share with you from Bitwise, actually. But in regards to this somewhat cryptic post from Anthony Scaramucci, Eric Balchunas had something to say. Now, this guy, you might be familiar with the name by now, he's a senior ETF analyst for Bloomberg, so he has connections, he has sources, he is in the know, and I'm curious in his perspective on this topic as a result. And so he wrote, SEC is giving final comments as we speak. Then issuers will submit final 19B-4s and S1s soon after. So, I mean, this is definitely as close to done as we've been, but no official approval as far as I know. And so, fair enough. And so that it's true at this point, there has been no official approval at the time I'm recording this, and if anybody's curious, it's 5:56 p.m. Central Time, Thursday, January 4th, 2024. But why should we care what Anthony Scaramucci has to say anyway? You might be wondering that. Fair enough question. Well, Scott Melker, known as the Wolf of Wall Street, one of the most popular guys in all of crypto, 927,000 followers, which is actually almost as much as Anthony Scaramucci. Anthony Scaramucci has 990,000 followers. But Scott Melker shared that post. It's done. And Scott Melker wrote, many weeks ago, Mooch was on my show and shared for the first time that he had seeded BlackRock's spot ETF. And so Anthony Scaramucci is personally involved in this. That's why you should care what he has to say. That's why people are paying attention. He is personally involved in an aspect of this process. Here's a post from Genevieve Roach-Decter, not sure if I'm saying her name right, very well known, not just in crypto, but speaks about all sorts of stuff having broadly to do with finance, markets, macro stuff. Massive follower, 427,000 followers. And actually, I saw this right before I hit record, 18 minutes ago, she posted, Bitcoin spot ETF to be approved by the SEC according to multiple sources with news expected tomorrow. I don't know if true, but sounds promising. Here we go. Here we have Jacqueline Malinik. Now, Jacqueline, she certainly has sources. Senior crypto reporter for TechCrunch. And here's what she's reporting. And by the way, this has been seen, it's about 3 hours, 995,000 views. And again, but she's in a place where she's got sources and she's reputable. That's why people are paying attention. And I say fair enough. Here's what she said. Heard from sources extremely close to the matter that the Bitcoin spot ETF is going to be approved by the SEC for multiple firms' applications. Expecting something tomorrow. That. And so that's why it's like, I'm not saying I'm convinced, but I can't rule it out. It's a crapshoot. Not everybody's convinced, and more on that in just a second here. And then there was this. Why is everybody doing these cryptic posts? Here you have Craig Salm. He is the chief legal officer for Grayscale, obviously vying for that spot Bitcoin ETF. They defeated the SEC, in fact, in their legal endeavors, which was a fantastic defeat for the SEC. I really enjoyed that one. But he simply wrote, just filling out some forms. And so people look at that and they're like, what? Losing their ever-loving minds. That was posted this morning. It's now been seen 1.8 million times. This stuff's funny to me. I enjoy it. I'd rather enjoy this. I hope you guys are too. And then in a separate post, I don't need to read everything that's on your screen, but Eric Balchunas had the following to say, and this was at 5:32 p.m., so less than a half hour ago, as of the time of recording this anyway, that what he's expecting is that we're going to see approval at some point between January 8th to the 10th. So not tomorrow. He does not think that's going to happen, but he did say, that said, we are going to see leaks/chatter that SEC has verbally approved over next 72 hours, which is true, end quote. So he believes that this damn thing was approved and stuff's going to be leaking. So, and again, he's in the know. He has the connections. This is what he does for a living. So take it for what it's worth. It is a rumor, but again, like I keep saying, these are from reputable sources, you know? Reputable sources who have sources, you know what I'm saying? James Seifert, also living in this world, works for Bloomberg. He's not so convinced. He wrote the following just 37 minutes ago. A lot of noise about tomorrow. Sticking to this, I'm not expecting official Bitcoin ETF approval orders tomorrow. Still expecting them January 8th through 10th. Eleanor Turret reposted that and said, I too agree with this. So again, I don't pretend to know. I'm just reporting what people are saying. It's a rumor. That's it. But like, there are people who know things. Eric Balchunas is spot on about that. I certainly agree with that part. So you might be kind of wondering, to what degree might this matter? Well, let's jump into an even more fun part of this latest Moon Lambo hot jam. Have you guys seen this yet? This is from Bitwise. Released today. Bitwise/VettaFi Advisor Survey reveals wide gap in expectations on spot Bitcoin ETF approval. Suggests event could be bigger than expected catalyst. And this is interesting, so check this out. They ran this survey, and I'm just going to run through some of the bullet points here. And these are, oh wait, I should know who they're from. Here, let me just read the top, just to make sure that we're sufficiently in the know here. Bitwise Asset Management, the largest crypto index fund manager in America, and VettaFi, a leading data-driven ETF platform, today released the findings of the 6th annual Bitwise/VettaFi 2024 benchmark survey of financial advisor attitudes toward crypto assets. Man, that's a mouthful. The yearly survey touches on topics ranging from advisors' current crypto allocations and preferred investment vehicles to Bitcoin price predictions. The 2024 survey revealed persistent interest in crypto from clients, lingering barriers to access for advisors, and concerns about crypto regulation and volatility. Most notably, the poll suggested that the approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF could generate greater demand among investors than many expect. And so, folks, my stance after reading through all this is still pretty much the same, although I did find this very interesting, and I think you will too. Yes, demand, it's going to be substantial, but over a longer period of time. So check this out. Check out this bullet point. Less than half of all advisors expect a spot Bitcoin ETF in 2024. Surprisingly, only 39% of advisors believe a spot Bitcoin ETF will be approved in 2024. By contrast, Bloomberg ETF analysts pegged the likelihood of a January approval at 90%. And that's true. I've seen that directly from, I believe it's Eric Balkunas, actually. He says like 90% chances it's happening. So why are they so out of step with these advisors? Because only 39% of them think it's going to happen. My guess is they're not paying sufficient attention. That would be my guess. Because I think they are way out of line on that one. And fine, like I said, maybe we could surprise them. The SEC's like, haha, rug pull, we're not actually approving this thing. And then they're just going to get sued into oblivion. But I really think there's close to a 0% chance of that being the case here. So, interesting. So they're not counting on it. Next bullet point. But the vast majority see its approval as a major catalyst. 88% of advisors interested in purchasing Bitcoin are waiting until after a spot Bitcoin ETF is approved. And there you go. So they're waiting. They're not purchasing. And this is leading a lot of people to say that actually this is not priced in. This movement, it's not priced in. So when this thing gets approved, money flows in. There's going to be no pullback. It's a buy the news event. That's what a lot of people are saying. I remain unconvinced. Because clearly the market's been running up. And do you think that perhaps this narrative has, to some degree, played in? Do you not think that there are going to be plenty of people who are going to sell? Because look, like whether or not these financial products are successful is a different question than people who are in the market now. Are they just going to sell the news? These are two different things. And some people are reading this as though they're one and the same. And it's not the case. They are not the same thing. What we're talking about is, if this is going to be a major catalyst, yeah, once the thing goes live, it's not like everything's going to be live necessarily on day one, and then everybody on that day decides to pile money in. You know, if you look over a span of years and decades, like, yeah, I think it's going to be gigantic, as I keep saying. But it doesn't mean there can't be a pullback. Like, both things can be true, obviously. So I haven't changed my perspective. So specifically for those who are in the market right now, I bet there are going to be plenty who are looking to pull some profit. And again, happy to be wrong. I could be wrong. I admit that. Happy to be wrong. Anyway, third bullet point. Once you invest, you tend to stay invested or invest more. 98% of advisors who currently have an allocation to crypto in client accounts plan to either maintain or increase that exposure in 2024. Ah, yes, folks. That means number go up. Among advisors, next bullet point, among advisors who allocate, the size of the allocation is rising. Large crypto allocations, more than 3% of a portfolio, more than doubled from 22% of all client portfolios with crypto exposure in 2022 to 47% in 2023. So even though it's a minority position on overall portfolios, it's increasing substantially percentage-wise, which you would expect. As the asset class grows and it becomes viewed as even more reputable and something that is absolutely here to stay, yes, directionally, you're going to see more money flow into it, a greater rate, a greater percentage rather. Next bullet point, client interest remains strong. 88% of advisors received a question about crypto from clients last year. See, that's positive. Next one, held away assets remain a major opportunity. 59% of advisors said some or all of their clients were investing in crypto on their own outside of the advisory relationship. Next bullet point. Advisors have their sights set on crypto equity ETFs. Crypto equity ETFs were advisors' top choice when asked what type of crypto exposure they were most interested in allocating to in 2024. And so look, again, there's always going to be people who want to hold crypto themselves. I'm guessing that's everybody listening to this. And then there are going to be those who don't want to get a Coinbase account, and they're going to get exposure to the asset class through ETFs, where the underlying product is actually purchased, and that will materially impact the supply and demand dynamics for every coin that's in it. So it could be an ETF that has a basket of coins in it. Because it's not just going to be Bitcoin. Son, they ain't going to stop there. Next bullet point, regulatory uncertainty and volatility loom large. 64% of advisors cited regulatory uncertainty as a barrier to greater crypto adoption in portfolios. Volatility was the second most pressing concern, 47% of respondents. And see, that's hard to believe, right? Because Kim Jong-Ginzer, he already told us that the regulation, it's all very clear, right? So that it's hard to believe that anyone would disagree with Kim Jong-Ginzer, right? And the final bullet point, advisors prefer Bitcoin over Ethereum. 71% of advisors favor Bitcoin over Ethereum, a marked increase from the previous year, 53%. And so there are literally, I mean, the data shows it, there are absolutely advisors out there who will not purchase Bitcoin or get offer exposure to the crypto asset class to their clients until there's approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. So it is true that this is going to increase demand for Bitcoin materially. But again, I think it happens over time. Where's this idea that just right out the gate, it's all just happening right there like snap of a finger? Happy to be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. That's just my personal opinion here. James Seifert responded to this information and said, not going to lie, this is very surprising to me. Particularly with all the added media coverage, only 39% of advisors surveyed are expecting a spot Bitcoin ETF in 2024. Probably a case of boy who cried wolf. Yeah, well, I guess they're just not paying close enough attention. And another factor, actually, I think it's fair to bring up, is that the respondents, they were surveyed, where's the date? October 20th to December 18th of last year. So, you know, the people closer to December 18th, perhaps they'd be more likely to think that this is going to occur with all the additional information that was coming out towards the end of 2023. So take it for what it's worth. We could see fireworks tomorrow. Worst case scenario, it's a virtual certainty it's going to happen next week. And it's already Thursday. It's like we don't have to wait long. But yeah, I'm expecting lots more stuff to leak. So even if there's no official announcement, yeah, we're probably gonna have some interesting news tomorrow, regardless. But we'll see what happens. We're almost there, folks. I'm so curious to see how this actually unfolds. I want to see, because I'm curious. Like, I want to know if my guesses end up being right or wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.